Sir Leslie Stephen KCB was an English author, critic, historian, biographer, and mountaineer, best known as the father of Virginia Woolf and Vanessa Bell. Life. Stephen was born at Kensington Bore in London, the brother of James Fitzjames Stephen and son of Sir James Stephen. His family had belonged to the Clapham sect, the early 19th century group of mainly evangelical Christian social reformers. At his father's house he saw a good deal of the Macaulays, James Spedding, Sir Henry Taylor and Nassau Sr. After studying at Eton College, King's College London and Trinity Hall, Cambridge, where he graduated B.A. in 1854 and M.A. in 1857, Stephen remained for several years a fellow and tutor of his college. He recounted some of his experiences in a chapter in his Life of Fawcett as well as in some less formal sketches from Cambridge, by a Don. These sketches were reprinted from the Pall Mall Gazette, to the proprietor of which, George Smith, he had been introduced by his brother. It was at Smith's house at Hampstead that Stephen met his first wife, Harriet Marion, daughter of William Makepeace Thackeray, with whom he had a daughter, Laura Makepeace Stephen. He and his daughter were cared for by his sister Caroline Amelia Stephen, who was a writer, although Leslie described her as "Silly Millie," and her books as "little works." His second marriage was to Julia Prinsep Jackson, widow of Herbert Duckworth. With her he had 4 children. Vanessa married Clive Bell. Toby. Virginia married Leonard Woolf. Adrian. In the 1850s, Stephen and his brother James Fitzjames Stephen were invited by Frederick Denison Morris to lecture at the Working Men's College. Leslie Stephen became a member of the college's governing college corporation. Stephen was an honorary fellow of Trinity Hall, Cambridge, and received the honorary degree Doctor of Letters from the University of Cambridge and from the University of Oxford. He died in Kensington. He is buried in the eastern section of Highgate Cemetery in the raised section alongside the northern path. His daughter, Virginia Woolf, was badly affected by his death and she was cared for by his sister, Caroline. Woolf in 1922 created a detailed psychological portrait of him in the fictional character of Mr. Ramsay in her classic novel, To the Lighthouse. Literary career. While at Cambridge, Stephen became an Anglican clergyman. In 1865, having renounced his religious beliefs, and after a visit to the United States 2 years earlier, where he had formed lasting friendships with Oliver Wendell Holmes, Jr., James Russell Lowell and Charles Eliot Norton, he settled in London and became a journalist, eventually editing the Cornhill magazine in 1871, where R. L. Stevenson, Thomas Hardy, E. Norris, Henry James, and James Paine figured among his contributors. In his spare time, he participated in athletics and mountaineering. He also contributed to the Saturday Review, Fraser, Macmillan, The Fortnightly, and other periodicals. He was already known as a climber, as a contributor to Peaks, Passes and Glaciers, and as one of the earliest presidents of the Alpine Club, when, in 1871, in commemoration of his own first ascents in the Alps, he published The Playground of Europe, which immediately became a mountaineering classic. Drawing, together with Whymper's Scrambles Amongst the Alps, successive generations of its readers to the Alps. During the 11 years of his editorship, in addition to 3 volumes of critical studies, he made 2 valuable contributions to philosophical history and theory. The first was The History of English Thought in the 18th Century. This work was generally recognized as an important addition to philosophical literature and led immediately to Stephen's election at the Athenaeum Club in 1877. The second was The Science of Ethics. It was extensively adopted as a textbook on the subject and made him the best-known proponent of evolutionary ethics in late 19th century Britain. Stephen also served as the first editor of the Dictionary of National Biography. Mountaineering. Stephen was one of the most prominent figures in the golden age of alpinism, during which many major alpine peaks saw their first ascents. Joining the Alpine Club in 1857, Stephen made the first ascent, usually in the company of his favorite Swiss guide Melchior Anderegg, of the following peaks: Wildstrubel the 11th of September 1858 with T.W. Hinchliffe and Melchior Anderegg. Birchhorn the 13th of August 1859 with Anton Siegen, Johann Siegen and Joseph Ebener. Rimpfischhorn the 9th of September 1859 with Robert Living, Melchior Anderegg and Johann Zimtorvald. Alphabel the 9th of August 1860 with T.W. Hinchliffe, Melchior Anderegg and Peter Perrin. Blumleis Alphorn the 27th of August 1860 with Robert Living, Melchior Anderegg, OGI, Simon and J. K. Stone. Schreckhorn the 16th of August 1861 with Ulrich Kaufmann, Christian Michel and Peter Mitchell. Monte Disgrazier the 23rd of August 1862 with E. S. Kennedy, Thomas Cox and Melchior Anderegg. Zinnel-Rothorn the 22nd of August 1864 with Florence Crawford Grove, Jacob Anderegg and Melchior Anderegg. Montmalet the 4th of September 1871 with G. Loper, A. Walroth, Melchior Anderegg, C.H. and A. Tournier. He was president of the Alpine Club from 1865 to 1868. Works: The Pole Degree from a Third Point of View, The Times, on the American War, A Historical Study, Sketches from Cambridge, The Playground of Europe, Essays on Free Thinking and Plain Speaking, Hours in a Library, The History of English Thought in the 18th Century, Samuel Johnson, Swift, The Science of Ethics, Life of Henry Fawcett, An Agnostic's Apology and Other Essays, Sir Victor Brooke, Sportsman and Naturalist, The Life of Sir James Fitzjames Stephen, Bart, KCSI, Social Rights and Duties, Studies of a Biographer, The English Utilitarians, George Eliot, English Literature and Society in the 18th Century, Hobbes,